So Ashley, we got some snow for the first a week into 2025 here.
Yeah.
Just a couple days into 2025. We had
about 10 days too late.
yeah. So we had some cancellations due to the weather. So we having to work here on the fly. Then we wanted to tell you about Snowmageddon 2025. It wasn't near as bad as what we were expecting, but it was. We still got a ass load of snow out there.
Yeah.
So I
It's
think
cold. I think that's the worst thing in the snow is it's so cold.
Yeah, I don't know what the final snow tally total is, but like I think it's somewhere around in between 10 to 14 inches.
Yeah, I heard 10 to 24 earlier, and I'm like,
No way.
Yeah.
No way we got 24 inches. Not here anyway.
like, I think it was 1 when you measured 9 inches.
Yeah, yeah. So it was midday when I went out and measured 9 inches down into this. And, it was, and that was a pretty accurate spot too, I think.
Yeah.
And so it was about 9 inches. So we had at least a good 5 hours of heavy snow after that. So
It was like almost like pellets, not snow. Like
yeah, some of it was.
like
I mean,
sleet.
most of it was snow, but some of it was that pellet shit. And I thought that maybe that's why the roads are so bad, and apparently it got terrible. So we went out and we kind of prepared to not leave the house for about a week or two.
Yeah.
So I know not everybody has that luxury, and I know emergency services have to run. So, but we did kind of prepare to not have to leave the house for a week or two. So I do kind of feel bad for the people that had to get out. I guess it was really, really bad. I don't know if you found any pictures of accidents or any news that you want to
I
share.
don't know. I watched a YouTube channel for an hour or so today about storm chaser Brandon.
Yeah.
I know it said his last name, but I don't remember what his last name was. But like,
Shout out.
he was out helping him, and like someone else was out helping like all these stranded motorists, like in the middle of the belt and all over St. Joe. And so,
So where's he from?
I don't know. It says he does like northeast Kansas and northwest Missouri storm
That's
chasing.
interesting. I have to
But
follow
he's
him.
got some videos like of him out in Colorado too. So
Should have invited him over here, I guess.
yeah,
to
but
do a
it was
podcast.
like you could tell there was just a lot of unnecessary people out too.
Yeah.
like driving.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that happens a lot. And
Like there was some weird situations that I saw people in on his videos. I'm like, how'd your car get over there? Like when you're heading north,
yeah.
how's it going west?
Well, I think people, I don't know, for whatever reason, I think people go a little nutty when snow starts falling. I have no idea. It's like people forget how to drive, and it's just slow down, take your time, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
Whether you're in a rear wheel drive, front wheel drive, four wheel drive, it really shouldn't matter. If you take your time, you can pretty much get where you need to go.
Yeah, I don't get too stressed out in snow because like
It's just snow.
I learned how to drive in the country. Like we had to drive in snow on 1-lane roads
Yeah.
because the other side would be completely covered. So
And I know, like, we'll have to get out and go to work tomorrow. And, you're going to have to go back to work on Tuesday. And of course, I don't have to leave the house to go back to work. So,
yeah.
I think we'll be fine. It's all the other idiots out on the road that I worry about, you know, because people do have to go to work, like this, this city wasn't built for a shit ton of snow.
No. And we're severely understaffed in our road crews
Yeah.
in this area. So
Yeah, and God bless them. They're out there doing the best they can, and I know MoDOT's probably having a hell of a time. They had a truck laid over last night, and
yeah. And
I don't know if that was MoDOT or KDOT. I'm not sure, but
and then there was on the scanner page there was a plow versus vehicle.
yeah,
So
I'm sure there was a lot of that. So if you don't have to get out, don't get out. But I wanted to, so I planned on having Dan Rathman on the show and have a little bit of comedy and a little bit of laughs for, to start the new year off right. But we had to postpone that because of the weather and
Yeah.
some of the other people I had planned to stop by and they had to cancel because of the weather. And I don't really want them to get out and test their, driving skills anyway. But because we were really expecting it to be a little worse than it was. Like I'm glad it wasn't because they were expecting it like, a quarter to a half inch ice in Kansas City. And we're not too far from Kansas City. And if they were expecting, I mean, could you imagine what a half inch of ice would do to Kansas City? It'd cripple it for,
Where was
a
it
week
at?
or
Was it
two.
at Kansas City with the fire truck? Like a couple years ago, the fire truck in the neighborhood.
I think so.
Sliding.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think you're right.
Yeah. When we got, because I think it was like a couple years ago, we got some really bad ice.
That is so not right. You're drinking coffee and I'm not.
Well, I got a long night ahead of me.
Yeah, do you? What do you got to do?
I got to put this thing out.
Oh, yeah. Well, that surely won't take that much time. Not any more time than usual. But, yeah, so we're just kind of working on the fly.
Yeah.
Like what was your favorite time about today?
Probably when I woke up this morning and seen that there was like snow because
Yeah.
it's been so long.
Yeah, it has been. It's been it's been at least 10 years since we've had a snow like this.
Yeah, like the last time I remember snow like this was when Sully was a baby.
Yeah, so Snowmageddon 2025 is a little bit different for us than, the northern folks here that, get lots of snow. We don't ordinarily get more than a foot of snow at a time, and I think it's safe to say we got a good 14 inches out there. It's hard to measure now because of the wind, and we're at the bottom of a hill, and so everything kind of flattens out at the bottom of the hill. So
Yeah, well, and what I thought was like weird today, because like usually you can always guarantee a car is going to come down our street and get stuck.
Yeah,
like
no.
we literally just set out, or sit on the couch and watch out the window. These cars slide down the street and try to get back up,
and they can't get back up the hill.
But not one vehicle came down the street today.
No.
Like none of the neighbors left. Like I said earlier, the neighbor next door, he had started plowing his driveway at like 8:00
Yeah.
tonight when it stopped. But like usually he leaves every time. He didn't even leave.
Now I just want to leave it until the morning. I'm not going to go out there and shovel this shit, and I'm not going to go out there and walk to the mailbox or anything. So it doesn't need to be shoveled, and I hope nobody comes traipsing up on the property and falls. That would suck.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
we did put all that salt.
Yeah, it shouldn't
underneath.
be icy.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be icy. It should all be snow.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. I did put out quite a bit of salt, and it lasted for, I think it lasted all night until we started getting real bad wind, and then once the snow came, it was over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Like right now, the snow's drifted to where we can't even open the front door.
Yeah, it's waist high in places out in our front yard, and I know, like the last time it snowed like this, gosh, it was probably 2009, winter of 2009, 2010.
That's the last time I remember.
Yeah, it was
snowing like that.
I remember out in rural Missouri, we were having to go use bulldozers to clear the roads because it was like we had 20, 25 foot high snow drifts. Like we couldn't get trucks through there, so we had to bring bulldozers in and clear the roads.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was quite the adventure, driving a truck in behind bulldozers, and you see a mountain of snow taller than your truck. It's pretty wild.
Well, and I've seen pictures like up in the Northeast
Yeah.
of them like plowing roads and then being like 8-9 foot tall going down
Yeah.
the road, and I always thought like that's the kind
You
of
know
snow
what-
I want to see.
You know what I think is interesting in some northern parts of this country and like Canada, they use like giant snow blowers and blow it into trucks and haul it out. They haul the snow to a dumping ground.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that.
Isn't that crazy? That's kind of neat. I could see why they do that because the runoff causes a huge issue because it's like that's a lot of water. But
Yeah.
like if you get 2 feet of snow, that's like and it's melting. It not only does it take forever to melt, but when it does melt, it creates
Swamp.
an issue. Yeah, a drainage issue.
Yeah.
It'd be like getting that amount of snow here. It would be nuts. It would flood. We'd have massive floods everywhere. It would flood major parts of the city just because it's just there's nowhere to run off to.
It'd all run down our hill
Yeah,
at the end of the street.
might flood our backyard and but hey, it's going to stay below freezing at least next week, so this next upcoming week.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in the negatives.
And I think I'm not sure what the city's going to do with the roads. I'm not sure if they're going to let them snowpack or what, because we've got a few days of real bitter cold. There's no point in clearing it then.
Yeah. So if you're parked on an emergency snow route, make sure you move your vehicle.
Well, they were knocking on doors all day today, apparently the first time in what 10, 12 years that they've had to. So that's pretty wild that to see that nowadays, like that they will actually go knock on your door and tell you to move your car or you're going to get towed. And it's like in some of these neighborhoods, where the hell are they supposed to park? That's my concern. And I understand why there's emergency snow routes. I get it. But and then you got miles of people that have nowhere to put their vehicles.
Well, because that's what I was thinking, like Farron.
Yeah.
Like none of those people have driveways unless you live in one of the big
McMansions,
huge mansions that have the drive or whatever. And I'm like, so where are they all supposed to go? You can't block an alley.
Yeah. You can't park in the alleys. And
I mean, can you get up on the sidewalk, or is that part of the emergency snow route?
Yeah, I have no idea. That's kind of wild, though. Like, if you think about, like, rentals, there's a lot of rentals in those areas. Some of those buildings have multiple tenants. And it's like multiple vehicles per house.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell are they supposed to do with all their vehicles?
Yeah.
So it's like, there's no car parks around here that you could just leave them.
Right. Well, and with the weather in this situation, I don't even know why you would have public transportation running.
I'm not sure either. Emergency service vehicles, they have to be able to get through as well. I think that's part of the emergency snow route.
I just seen there was a lot of like bus drivers complaining.
Yeah,
so.
I believe I assume, and I believe that emergency bus routes are designed for public transportation to ensure that everybody can get to and from work, whether their vehicles can get out or not. Which is, I mean, it's a pretty good idea, I guess. But
I wouldn't think the buses would get around very well. They're so low.
But the thing is, they've had these plans in place for decades now. So I mean, it's not anything to get worked up over. Just find a place to put your car, and the main thing is to be safe and make sure everybody can get around as efficiently as possible, not just worry about ourselves. And I see a lot of people just worrying about themselves, when going to the grocery store and all the shelves are like, I didn't see it here, but on social media, seeing pictures of empty shelves everywhere. It's kind of disheartening because, when you go to the grocery store, you do want to leave enough for your neighbors as well.
Yeah. Well, and like, I think that somebody posted a picture of our Walmart here like that, but when I went to like Green Hills, like, it wasn't like that.
But then again, we did prepare like a week in advance, and we kept going sporadically throughout the week and
like
grabbing this and grabbing that, and every time we went there was plenty of stock, but we weren't necessarily hoarding anything either. Like we got a half gallon of milk to last us 2 weeks instead of 10 gallons.
Yeah.
And we already had shit paper, so we didn't need shit paper.
We're not going to sit around making omelets and drinking milk.
Yeah, no. Like so an emergency situation like that, like where we're not going to have power, and I wanted simple things that we can, we bought a hot plate so that we could use in an emergency because we're all electric here. We don't have gas. And so I wanted to be able to have something to, in an emergency situation, feed the kids, And so ordinarily I'd just go outside and burn shit and start a fire. But in this case, it's supposed to be like -1 tomorrow. And no, I don't want to build a fire. And so I checked the weather ahead of time, and I was like, no, let's get a hot plate. I don't want to. I wanted to get one of those camping stoves, but again, broke,
Yeah.
I've asked, because a lot of people know that I like to be prepared in certain situations. So I've had a few people ask, hey, are you prepared? You prepared? And I say, hey, I'm not as prepared as I'd like to be, but I'm as prepared as I can afford to be.
Yeah.
So there's the difference there. Like, am I prepared? Sure. I mean, I can make it through. Am I, am I prepared for whatever happens? Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, are we ever really necessarily as prepared as we should be?
No.
Yeah. So that's my go-to answer. Am I prepared?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm about as prepared as I can afford to be.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about I want a bigger generator. Like I don't know if I can stick it out another winter without a bigger generator. Because just having that peace of mind, even if I never use it, I just that peace of mind of having one. I know, I do maintain the one we have, even though we don't use it very often. I make sure it runs, and I check the oil and change the oil and keep it good. And I would do that with a bigger generator as well. I want to have the peace of mind that I can keep the whole house warm, not just one room.
Yeah.
So, but in an emergency situation, you got to do what you got to do. And I mean, I would break out. I've got a little 150 watt power inverter that goes into the car. I plug that son of a bitch in to keep warm if I have to.
And then we could all just huddle in this room because it's pretty warm out here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's this room is the best insulated room in the house because it's insulated on all four walls. So there you go. Ordinarily, you don't get that in an interior of a house. Not all four walls are insulated, but we wanted to build this one warm because this is an outside wall. This is an outside wall, and these two are inside walls. So
Yeah.
the new wall was an inside wall, or outside wall. I'm sorry. But anyway, but I wanted to make sure that we were at least prepared for not being able to leave for a week. Power, no power, and I wanted to have food that either A, you didn't have to cook, B was, if you had to cook it, we could use that hot plate.
Yeah.
So we got stuff to make chili. We got, we got some tuna packets and shit, bread, lunch meat,
Crackers,
'Cause
cheese.
the little bitty generator that we got, it's enough to power the refrigerator and heat. So
Yeah. Yeah. The kids are just really bored.
yeah, they
Yeah.
are. I mean, they can go outside. Nobody's stopping them.
They ain't gonna go outside.
I know.
They're like, mm-mm. Well, I don't know. Sully, he wouldn't. Rocket probably would.
Yeah. I got a shout out to Will Jones who he jumped out in the damn snow in swimming trunks and it did like a polar plunge out in the
Yeah.
snow. That was crazy. It was funny.
I bet it was cold. Really, really cold.
I bet it was because I go out there to smoke cigarettes, because I don't smoke in the house. And I shoveled a little space for me to stand there and huddle by the door and smoke. And
With your double socks and your double coat.
yep, double socks, double coat, just standing out there for 5 minutes at a time. I know how cold it is just standing out there for a few minutes. I can't imagine just jumping in the snow, no clothes on. That's nutty.
No.
But I seen that and I was like, hey, look at this shit. And you're like, oh, is that Will Jones? That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That was great.
Now it's your turn to go do that.
No, thank you. No, I'm good. If somebody paid me to, though, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might do it. But anyway, yeah. So that's the news that we have today. Snowmageddon 2025 was not as bad as what it could have been, but it's still pretty awful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of slide offs. They put out emergency alerts everywhere. Roads are closed.
People can't make it into work.
People can't make it into work.
can't make it home
got
from work.
Factories closed.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one thing that really surprised me. Long John Silver's is closed.
That surprised you.
Yeah, that did surprise
That
me.
place is barely operational when it's a sunny day outside.
I know. Hey, what can we do?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty excited about the year going forward. We're gonna be getting out in this nasty shit tomorrow, and we're gonna see what kind of damage is done to the city, and it's gonna be pretty wild. I'm kind of excited to see what it looks like, but hopefully we don't have to leave again tomorrow.
Yeah, usually when it's this like kind of weather, like I'm like, oh, let's go out and see like what's going on. But
And now
not this
I'm just
time. I'm like,
no, you know why? Because you prepared to stay in the house if we had to, and then we didn't lose power, thank goodness.
like I have no desire to go out there.
No, I do have a desire to go out there and play, like get dressed in some boots and some jeans and like go cut some wood or some shit.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Or building. I think we if it's not too cold tomorrow, which I think it's going to be cold as fuck tomorrow. If it's not too cold, maybe we get out there and build a snowman or a fort or something. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be too cold.
Yeah.
I might have to do it on Tuesday. The kids got to go back to school on Wednesday, which city should be ready.
Yeah.
We should. I mean, I know it was a lot of snow, but I mean, this isn't the first time we've had a big snow like this. This won't be the last time. And I do think the city prepared itself fairly well. And
Yeah.
so we'll see. But I got some interviews this week for the podcast. I don't want to spill too much tea because honestly, I forgot who they were. And,
And if they have to cancel,
if they have to cancel because of Snowmageddon, we don't want to give too much away. But yeah, I got some interviews lined up this week and next week. So we'll get back on the podcast bandwagon. We'll get some interesting guests in here. Hey, if you guys want to talk about something, want us to talk about anything, you want us to get an expert in here, let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.
Bye.